Hello and welcome back to Galactic Goddess Podcast. I'm your host, Radha Nilia, and today we have a very special guest, Chiraya Dharma. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Rada. It's such a pleasure to be here with you again after our Portal to Ascension interview earlier this year.
Yes, thank you. You're so filled with wisdom and knowledge, and you're quite an experienced healer with 30 years of multidimensional healing, facilitating. You're also clairvoyant, and you're also a multi-published author. So we're going to leave all of your information below. But today we're coming together to talk about visionary stewardship.
Absolutely. So the term visionary stewardship came through when I was working on bringing in the Anchor the Dream set of technologies, soft technologies that I've been leading workshops and doing teaching about since 2005. So reality creation and manifesting have always been my passion. And my thought was, well, we better start using that not only for our own lives, but also for our planet and for our communities. So it works on, personal, planetary, community, organizational. Like we shouldn't limit ourselves to just think, hey, when I need a new BMW, I'm going to go manifest it. And that's fine. If somebody wants to do that, that's great. Manifest whatever you want in your life. But also let's start thinking about ourselves as planetary stewards and visionary stewards for the planet, as well as our own personal manifesting.
I love that. I love that so much. I really have been thinking a lot about the collective and how, yeah, we have to start dreaming. We have to start dreaming together and weaving our dreams together, and how important it is to use visualization of the timeline that we do want and start to drop off the timelines that we don't. And we were talking earlier about how media has such an intense hook into our psyches, and you might, some people even say mind control, so it's really important to start unraveling that. And how, what would you suggest as part of letting go of the imprints, that
Mhm.
often infiltrate people?
Yeah, that's interesting that you asked that, because that's really indicating the flip side. The coin, there's like, we think of a coin of manifesting and energy clearing. There really are two sides of one coin and they work together. So I've often done clearings where we're literally cleaning out the subconscious imprints dumped into us from gosh knows how many decades of watching television as children, plus all the news, alternative news, mainstream news, what others are saying to us, the data that's coming to us through every avenue about certain situations on the planet.
Yeah.
These things are being fed to us at the grocery store and everywhere else, right? So all of that, you can think of all of that as news in a way, and media that comes and imprints into our subconscious. So if we take the time to do some cleaning, all we really have to do is intend with our high self, please clean out any debris that I picked up today that has no business in my subconscious mind. That we keep up with that on a regular basis. And then we can also come together and do group energy clearings as well, or individual ones, to just really get in there and dig it out. Like so many modalities and practitioners right now. Pick your flavor, let's get to work.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, it's interesting, how there is so much out there, and it's really important that healers start stepping up into their visibility and start stepping into, I think there's like this fear for healers because so many lifetimes people have been persecuted. And that's something I know I felt, and you probably, because you were born a healer. That's just who you are. That's why when you get all of these other modalities, it's like it's like something you already know. It's not new.
Reactivating it. Yeah, exactly. And I would find, like, somebody would tell me about one modality, but I was like, oh yeah, that's what I do. And then somebody else would tell me about another one, and I'd be, oh yeah, that's what I do. Yeah. So in other words, we come in with it, like you're saying, we come in with a lot of it, and then it activates throughout our lives. But yes, we as healers and facilitators need to also keep our own trunks cleaned out and clean the junk from the trunk on a regular basis.
That's true. It's like a daily thing. I feel every day I'm going through, and if I feel, it's like, even if it's like a collective trigger, I feel really into that. And so I'm like clearing myself.
Yeah.
I'm like, just every single day. I'm like, do other people do this?
Yeah. We do every single day. It's like, it's like taking a bath.
Yeah.
It's the clearing and the creating. It's like we need to think of it as our life breath, and combined with our mission and purpose for existing, beyond what we grew up thinking we existed for, and stepping into the larger purpose for our existence.
Yes, exactly, for our collective existence. And I'm really happy that people like yourself are doing group healings. Are you offering group healings as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
We have one coming up this Sunday, actually. Yeah.
That's really cool. And what is that about?
It's cleaning out the energies of 2020 and 2021.
Wow, that's going to
Yeah.
be huge. We'll definitely check out her website below, because I'm sure that information will be there.
Right there on the front page. Yeah.
Perfect. I wanted to ask you more about the double-sided coin of manifesting that you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, for sure. So we have abilities as human beings. Basically, what we think and feel and imagine shows forth as reality. But a lot of the things that show forth as reality through us are coming from a subconscious imprint. And so basically, we're getting feedback from the world based on what's in our subconscious, not only what we'd like consciously. Like, we can want something consciously, but then you're like, well, why does this other thing show up? And it's because of the subconscious imprints. So what we find is when we can clean the energy and the imprints from the subconscious mind on a very deep core level, in a way that you actually feel that something has changed inside of you, then on the other side, you're able to think the new thought. You're able to hold your focus on the vision of what you desire for yourself or the world or your family or whatever you're working on. You can hold it more consistently and without interference. Whereas if that junk is still in the trunk of the subconscious mind, all those imprints are in there, it's harder to hold a steady thought. And as a man and woman thinketh, so they are, and asking you shall receive, all these old sayings point to the fact that we are reality creation beings. That's what we do. But if we're all filled up with beliefs and thought forms and ideas and fears and worries and concerns of things we don't want, then we're going to outpicture those more readily.
It makes so much sense. And the fact that we have so many like negative imprints coming in at us, that adds to the manifesting, because that's part of the dreaming together, right? So if everybody's watching the news and everybody's being imprinted, we're dreaming together into the future about what we want to, not what we want, but what's almost just available.
Spoon fed to us.
Yes,
for somebody else's agenda.
Exactly. So it's so important to be sure that you're not falling a victim to that, and saying, hey, well, that's what they're broadcasting. That's a broadcast message, but that's really not going to be my truth. It's so interesting. I thought how, like, with homeless people, they don't have all the right nutrients, and but they're still healthy. Like, you don't really hear about them getting COVID and all that stuff. It's like what's not on your broadcast coming in, it doesn't manifest out as much, right? So it's really weird how that works. But I remember at the height, like, they were just walking around, everyone's walking around without this thing, and there's something to it. So I really think
people in Africa too, like, supposedly there's these tribes in Africa who have a non-existent experience of that thing others have experienced, and they've never seen it on the news or heard about it or anything else. Literally, the media is programming things in, and unfortunately, I mean, some people are realizing that that's by design, because certain people running those types of shows actually know how the human brain works.
Yes, and the human brain is very susceptible, so we have to be super vigilant about what we're accepting as truth, and we should have critical thinking And, I think that's very important. And then also coming together in groups, like your healing group, right? And creating the reality that you do want. It's really important to dump out, like with your computer, when you have too much programs running, what happens? It just implodes. You can't turn it on, it doesn't move, it gets stuck. So it's important to just release all that stuff that doesn't serve any longer before we step into the new year.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what I did. So we're doing the energy clearing on Sunday, and then we're doing the manifesting on June 2nd. Because again, they go hand in hand together. And really, when we're thinking about being visionary stewards, we have even just a simple 5-minute practice a day, let's say, of I'm going to clean this, just clean. You can even imagine just like a waterfall flowing down through your body, mind, spirit complex, or whatever practice you want. It doesn't have to be complicated, but high self, please clean me now. Anything that needs to be cleaned, that's in my thought forms, in my subconscious mind, that's not supposed to be in here, that's not good for me, that slipped in anyway in the news or through a conversation or something I read on Telegram or whatever, just ask for that to be clean, and you can just feel the energy washing over you. And then
1 second, it just as soon as we made the intention, and I imagined the waterfall of light coming in and clearing everything out, and just wow, it feels better already. That's how fast it is.
That's how fast it is. We're designed as intention people, like we're intention devices almost. I don't want to call this a device, but our body, mind, spirit complex is designed for us to command what we want to have happen with it. And so we just have to, that's all we have to do is say, hey, clean this. And now, hey, bring in the highest vision, bring in the most gorgeous vision for an awakened, healed humanity and a healed earth and a beautiful healed nature, clean air, clean water, and people living free and happy and sovereign and like designing their own lives, creatively working together in a way that is God-centered, heart-centered, love-centered, goddess-centered from the heart. So, because when we're doing that, nobody wants to hurt each other from that place. So a whole lot of things take care of themselves once we get to that level together.
Mm-hmm. That's so beautiful. I'm excited. And this term visionary stewardships, what does that mean for someone that's never heard that before?
Okay, so visionary meaning we're using the power of our vision to imagine new realities and to imagine, for example, the earth cleaned, to imagine the waterways clean, to imagine the people healed, to imagine new positive systems on the earth. Any part of earth life that's bothering you or that needs an upgrade, you could decide to be a visionary steward for it. Because then, of course, the stewardship word means I'm taking care of it. I'm taking care of this part of earth life, of this part of our planet, of this part of my own life. You can be a visionary steward for your own life, for your family, for your land, but on a visionary level, because all action starts from a thought. Yeah. So, and this is what they call karma. Basically, karma is actions that are caused from past thinking, which basically feel like they're just happening, but they're just happening because there were previous actions and previous thoughts and previous feelings that led to them in this or other lifetimes. So when we're becoming visionary stewards, we're becoming conscious manifestors, and we're taking the horse by the reins and deciding we're going to steer our planet and we're going to steer our lives. Yes. And we can each pick, like, let's just imagine my mission is to have 144 visionary stewardship teachers who can go out and help people around the world learn how to do this and incorporate it into their day. So that's what I'm working on now, is a curriculum for that.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah. So it's like light, it's like the light keeps lighting up, and we're lighting up in different places, like actively serving that intention and purpose.
And then, so in other words, we have many different parts of earth life, and people are passionate about different parts. What if someone said, I'm going to be a visionary I'm going to be a visionary steward for the big cats. And I'm going to imagine the water is clean. And I'm going to imagine my state running smoothly. And I'm going to imagine the voting system coming online and being really awesome and actually working correctly. And, so on and so forth. Like there's lists of endless things, but it's like whatever people are passionate about, if everybody just took 5 minutes a day to imagine the highest vision for that aspect of Earth life, just imagine how the energy would up level. Like you said, you're always feeling the collective energy. So let's imagine right now together, what would it be like if 1 million people were actively being a visionary steward every day? Like how would that lift us up? And how would that, maybe then it's 2 million, and then it's 10 million, and then it's 100 million, and then it's 1 billion, like what if every person on this planet knew their inner power
Yes.
and used it on purpose to benefit everyone?
Absolutely beautiful. I just closed my eyes for a second while you were saying that because it was such a visceral feeling, and my heart started to get really warm, like it was like happy, like yes. And then I started to see like bing bing, like the little lights lighting up, and how it's kind of like those commercials for the phones, but it's not the phone. You're the one who's activated, who's lit up, right? And so that's to create a new grid system completely. And that just moves everything along so fast. So let's all participate in that. I really think it's important. It's vital. We're at the edge of something, and we have to make that quantum leap, it seems, and to say no more. And also, it's like as a collective, we have to know in our hearts what we accept and what we don't accept. And we have to keep that stand really strong and just have that there so that we're not wavering with the energy. We're just like, I know what the truth is. I know that we're worthy of having a world that's really healed, and with majority or all of the people who are on board with this, because everybody wants to live a good life. Everyone wants to have clean air, clean food, clean water, safety. They want to feel like they belong on earth. And we've lost our connection to that naturalness of belonging. It's become so artificial that there's a sense of not being good enough, that we have to conform into those new ways. And it's exhausting, and I don't resonate with that. I just feel like I want to go back I want to stay on the organic timeline. I don't resonate.
Yes to everything you're saying there. It's beautiful, beautifully said.
What do you think about the organic timeline, that term?
Yeah, I think that's where we want to be. I mean, personally, that's where I want to be. Like, in other words, instead of the synthetic timeline or the controlled AI timeline where people are basically little slave bots going along doing the bidding of other beings for their own nefarious purposes. Yeah, no thanks. Like, that's the contrast. Pretty good contrast there. I mean, you can't make this like, who thought of this sci-fi movie we're in right now? I don't know.
Hey, who could have thought of this? But actually, I just saw something from, I think, 1992 Olympics, and it was this exact thing that's going on to the T.
Yeah. Well, what were they doing? What we've been talking about, they were imprinting the subconscious mind to steer things in a certain direction.
Yeah.
So you can see how it works.
It's so powerful. It was just unreal. The little things looked like they had big ones, and they were slimy, and they were just like, anyways, I won't go into it, but you can only imagine. I couldn't believe that they did this in 1992 at the Olympics. They use a lot of these big events and venues and arenas, and for the propaganda. And I'm so glad I don't watch TV. I quit a long time ago. I don't watch TV. I don't have a TV. I had a huge TV before, and I gave it away. I do like to watch YouTube, and occasionally I like to watch some movies that I know are really cool. Like I just watched one called Stardust. I don't know if anyone's seen that, but it's so sweet. the sweeter movies that ignite your imagination, and that's really fun. But I also used to be in the industry, so I know that there's a lot of programming that goes into it, and I want to stay away from that so I can keep my mind focused on the timeline that
Mm.
we are co-creating together, like literally together, right?
Yes, absolutely. And speaking of that, I had this download. It's interesting because they're launching the next Matrix movie on the 21st, which is solstice.
Whoa.
But people should be out in nature on solstice. So even if you're going to go see that really cool movie sometime, I would say don't do it on the 21st. Like, take the 21st as a sacred day to go be in nature, be near water, to
Yes.
feel into our organic timeline, into our organic planet, our full connectivity with source consciousness and each other as a humanity. Like, that's what we need to be doing on solstice this coming.
Yes. I understand it's going to be a very potent one that's going to have a lot of, it's going to be like a big turnover for us. So we have to really, really stay in tune with, yeah, like you said, nature, connecting with the light source, really integrating that, grounding, sort of anchoring in the codes that we want for our timeline that we're co-creating. So we can do that together. Wherever you are, just tune in and say, I'm co-creating the world I want. And
Yes, harmony, beauty, love, peace, well-being, prosperity for all,
yeah,
a return to our natural inheritance of skills and working with the materials on the planet to bring out, to build things directly and not being so dependent on a materialistic system that's just giving you all this stuff, and then we get addicted to it, and then we're running around just on our phones. All it is like, yeah, could we get away from that? What would it be like in the world if we could step away and step back from that big programming machine?
that would be cool. Maybe, yeah, the 21st, I'm just going to say, everybody, I'm not going to be on my phone. So don't,
Yeah,
don't
exactly.
I noticed when I have done that a few times and I really enjoyed it. Like I was like, I felt like I had so much more energy the next day. And it's so weird how we've become slaves to our phones. Even the kids at the high school walking down the street at home, and they're like, and you're like,
Yeah.
you're not even looking around, you're not even aware anymore what's going on. Everybody's heads are down like this, and you're like, wow, this can't be real. This can't be.
Exactly. And I was told about this 30 years ago, but I produced whole events without a cell phone. I resisted it for a long time, but now here I am with this thing again. I'm like, I'm gonna get a what do you call it, the magic jack, and like
Yeah.
that cell phone turned off and put away until unless you really need it.
I think that's a wise choice. I have been contemplating, like, how can I do business and not be using my phone so much. Like maybe I get an old fashioned phone line, because that doesn't also have all the radiation and stuff like that. So it's a double whammy. And
Yeah.
I think I'm like, I miss a simple life back when I was a kid, and we didn't have all of this technology. Like technology can be benevolent, but right now it's not. So when that, I just wouldn't get tempted by all of these new cyber programs that want to pull you into a reality that gives you the sensations that feel good, but it's another addiction. And yeah, you just want to stay on the
Exactly.
organic. Come back to the organic. This is the real deal.
Yeah, the trees, the plants, like how are you feeling about the trees and the animals in your neighborhood, and what's happening? What are the birds doing? How are the people feeling? To really start again, yeah, get your head out of the phone and into the real world. And we already have that ability to create realities. We're already like this virtual reality being that can focus that and bring it forth into our experience. Why do we need to go down some other rabbit hole into some crazy tech scene like that movie? What was that, Tron? Where he gets lost in the computer game.
That's it. And about 6 years ago, I got a message from one of my ancestors that said there was going to be a timeline split. One was
Mm.
going to be AI and one was the organic. And that,
Wow.
to sum it up, it was like those that choose the AI timeline they were going to get stuck in that machinery, in that mechanism. Like they're going to go into those things. And that's exactly what, he told me. And I was just like, wow.
That's
How?
amazing.
But he didn't tell me how, but it was just like, he just told me, like, make sure you're staying on that organic timeline.
Oh my gosh, that's brilliant. That's a whole show we should talk about.
Yeah. So anyhow, I'm just so happy to be here. Is there anything else you'd like to share? Because I know you have so much knowledge, but we could always do another episode.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think I'm 100% with you on that organic timeline. I'm excited that your ancestor said that. And I think this is a really big test for humanity right now. We're like kind of in finishing school in a way. And just to know that we're not alone. Like you said, you're feeling like getting off the devices and wishing life was simpler. Well, you are absolutely not alone. There's millions and millions of people around the planet who are feeling the same thing right now. So we just have to be brave enough to walk away from what seems like comfort, but really is more of a trap, and see the difference, and trust that source within us, that we're going to be taken care of if we do make a leap of faith to move away from things that we intrinsically know are not good for us.
Wow. I felt that so deeply, really, like in the core of my being. Like, yeah, what you said about the comfort, it's like temporary comfort. It's like covering up the pain that we're all feeling of these past few years. But the truth is, it gets worse before it gets better. And I feel we're just about to get through, like, up the other side. So we have to stay the course.
Stay
We
the
are,
course, not give up.
yeah, never give up. We're on our way. We are on our way. Thank you so much. I really honor you, and I'm so happy to have you on today. And I look forward to connecting with you very soon. And again, anybody watching, she's also putting on her event. Is it Sunday?
Sunday, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and what time would that be?
Event, so it's going to be at 9 a.m. Pacific, noon. Wait, is that right? No, noon Pacific. They'll be happier about that. 3 p.m. 3 p.m. 3 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, for 2 hours, and so we're literally going to dig in and see what's alive for everyone, and we're just going to We're just going to clean it up.
That's so exciting. Yeah, that's my kind of thing. I love jumping into that whirlwind of clearing, and you feel so refreshed after those kinds of events. So be sure to tune into that. And thank you so much, Chiraya, for being on today.
Thank you, dear. Talk to you soon.
Love and blessings. Bye for now.